What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Grady, and I listen to country music and whatever else I want to. And today, after many comments, probably the most comments about this of anything I've ever gotten on this channel, and a ton of requests, I'm checking out Cody Johnson's new album, Ain't Nothin To It. Now, Cody Johnson has a massive fan base. He has a huge fan base, and they call themselves Kojo Nation. And I just want to say up front, there's a song on here dedicated to you guys called Y'all People. And the lyrics of it describe y'all people as, if anybody's going to get a drunk tattoo and own it, if anybody's got 4 cinder blocks with a fixer-upper sitting on it, if anybody's got a buzzing side door speaker because Chattahoochee done blown it, and the only thing they don't give is a damn, it's y'all people. And he goes on to describe how he's going to hang out with y'all people. It's a love letter to Kojo Nation. That's not me. I'm going to be totally real with you. Mine might be like if anyone's going to go to prep school and then go to a university and then join the media and then get jaded and quit and then become a stereotypical millennial and start a YouTube channel in his room as he works a bevy of part-time jobs, it's y'all people. That's kind of my people. But I just want to say up front, I'm not trying to pretend I'm part of the Cody Johnson crew. I am just, a regular dude that, like a lot of people in the mainstream, is only recently hearing about Cody Johnson. So I hope you embrace me, but I'm not claiming to be part of Kojo Nation, but I can tell you guys are powerful people. Okay, Ain't Nothin To It by Cody Johnson. The cover of this album looks like he is leaving some kind of wardrobe. Perhaps he's exiting Narnia, but in fact it's not Narnia, it's Texas. Cody Johnson comes out of the Texas scene, which I've mentioned in other videos here is a thriving market for country music, but stuff that isn't like under the mainstream banner of country, which is all run out of Nashville. But you've got guys like Cody Jinks and Aaron Watson and Cody Johnson selling out huge shows that are there. And so it's its own kind of like cottage industry. And lately, a bridge seems to be forming between Nashville and Texas, which is cool because there's a lot of good music coming out of Texas. And Cody Johnson is one of those guys that has really established himself, and I know has a bunch of albums that he's released that have been popular in the red dirt scene and in the Texas scene. Recently, Cody signed a deal with Warner Music Nashville, and they are releasing his album. So he's now getting the kind of mainstream support from a Nashville label for this latest release, but he'd already recorded it, as I understand it, back in Texas already. So it's going to retain the sound and not kind of the groupthink sounds that are happening in Nashville music right now. It's going to have kind of more of his Texas traditional sound, but it's being released and promoted by a big Nashville label. So that's why suddenly On My Way to You, which is the lead single from this, is actually getting played on country radio around the country. And I have a reaction to that video, or to that song on my channel already. That was my true introduction to Cody Johnson.
You've always said that you'd love to live out here.
I think this is a really good album, and I think it's going to be sort of a watershed album for the Texas scene arriving in Nashville. I think it's a really solid collection of songs, delivered really well, that sound really nice. And I think it's probably going to be in the same way that Luke Combs' This One's For You was sort of the album, the kind of sleeper, big, influential album of 2018. I think Cody Johnson's Ain't Nothin To It is probably going to be the same way in 2019. It's a happy medium between the traditional country sound and pop country sort of mainstream appeal, and Cody Johnson feels like a person well suited to sort of bear that cross and do that well. It's going to really harken back sound-wise to the 90s, 2000s, and I think there's a ton of different people to enjoy on this record. I would describe Cody Johnson's voice as a gruff baritone. He a little bit reminds me of George Strait, but his voice has a little more like Merle Haggard kind of edge, gruffness in it, and even like a little bit of Luke Combs, and just that it is a pretty rich tone. And overall, I think this is a strong, middle-of-the-road album. I mean, it reminds me of like deer hunting season and football and hamburgers and just kind of general crowd-pleasing, bullseye, kind of sturdy, satisfying moments. I think Cody doesn't seem to mind a lot of his past. He gets into a little bit of his rodeo past on a few songs on here, but for the most part, these are written by other people, and so you get a lot of different perspectives, and I think that holds back the album a little bit from feeling like a great cohesive album told from a singular point of view, but it doesn't mean that the songs on here aren't all really good and that they don't sound really good. If there is a theme on this album, it's sort of gallant, husbandy, revering love songs, because you get Ain't Nothin To It at the beginning, which I think is a killer song and just sort of a nice classic feeling father sharing wisdom with his son about how you maintain a long-term marriage kind of song. You've got Fenceposts, which is really romantic. I mean, it's kind of like a Texas dude rodeo version of like Taylor Swift's Love Story. There's lines on here that are like, "Don't tell your mama yet, I'm begging you. Don't tell your daddy till the paperwork goes through. When the time's right, we'll let them know. But right now is between you and me and these fence posts." So, I mean, it's kind of this sweet, lovey-dovey song, just kind of dressed up as a ranch song. Nothin On You is a sexier song, but that is kind of the blue ain't your color of the record. It's kind of one of those soulful, waltzy, maybe schmaltzy, but really well-delivered songs.
You got nothing on, ain't nothing, got nothing on you.
About like, when you've got nothing on, ain't nothing, got nothing on you, which is also very fun to sing. I have a feeling that's the smash from this record. I really like the song Nothin On You, even if I'm a little over the kind of slow jam, sexy song trend that's in the kind of the middle of every country album right now, but there's a lot of these kind of nice husband songs, and that makes a few moments on this record feel really confusing. And that kind of like, there's a cover of Long-Haired Country Boy where he's talking about smoking and drinking too much and his kind of irreverence for society and the law, and it just doesn't seem to go with this kind of nice-natured, sweet man that has been singing the first few songs on the record. It's a Charlie Daniels Band cover, and to me it doesn't work that well, even if it sounds good. But I get the sense that he kind of is almost more of a storyteller. Like, he is willing to do a little more imagination, and it's less about kind of the personal story of Cody Johnson, except in certain moments like Dear Rodeo where it is. So maybe that's not what his thing is, and that's okay. On Doubt Me Now, he kind of calls out music critics in another kind of Taylor Swifty mean moment where he says, "People like you got nothing better to do than throw rocks at things that shine."
People throw rocks at things that shine.
I don't think that's really... I don't love songs like this if they're really calling out kind of critics, because I think what people are doing when they're criticizing music is they're trying to see you. They're trying to engage with what you're doing. And I'm not hating on records, and so maybe that's more directed to people that just hate for no reason, but... yeah, the whole swaggering thing, it doesn't feel quite as real to me when he reveals so much sensitivity in other parts of the record. And let's talk about those other parts of the record, because, you know, while I've already mentioned Fenceposts and Nothin On You and Ain't Nothin To It, and I think those are probably the obvious singles from this record, my favorite songs on the record are a little bit different. They're probably a little less radio friendly, but I think they're really, really good. And the first one of those is Dear Rodeo. I love Dear Rodeo.
I used to rodeo and I thought that's what I was going to do. And when you leave something like that behind, even though this is as good as it is, you still wonder sometimes.
This song is basically Cody Johnson's love letter / breakup letter to the sport of rodeo.
Dear rodeo.
There's a line in here where he says, "I'd like to say that I took the reins and rode away. No regrets, no left unsaid, just turn the page, but you know better, babe." I love that he calls Rodeo Babe. You know, it's something he has such affection for, though it's almost like a lover. And he had to leave it behind. And he has a line on here where he says, "Man, I'm jaded. I hate it." And jaded is not a word I would use to describe any other like moments on this Cody Johnson record but this. But it's the part that I'm most interested in. You know, what makes you feel jaded or ashamed or regretful or something? Those kind of, that little peek into Cody's internal world, I found that really appealing, and I thought this song was really, really cool. The other track on the record that kind of gets into the jaded vibe, and is definitely my favorite track on the record on the whole, is called Monday Morning Merle.
Monday morning Merle, don't think about the girl he used to love.
Monday Morning Merle is about the progression of how a guy listens to music throughout the week. And there's sort of an increase in the party vibe of the songs where he's going through Bruce Springsteen, and then the Beatles, and then the Eagles, and then Jackson Browne, and then on Sunday, it's Sunday Morning Coming Down. It's kind of the sad Johnny Cash feeling, and then it's on Monday, it's Merle. And it's how he uses music to both create emotion and hype, but then also to cope with all of the feelings and all of the regret from the weekend. And it's a song about the power of music, and the sort of progression that the lyrics are going through are absolutely compelling. And it's the best version of like what a checklist song can be. And I think such a cool idea and really, really beautiful. Then it's back to Monday Morning Merle. And man, I was really moved by that song. It's like it's kind of like an inside winking country music moment that I feel like any country fan can relate to. Other songs I like on this record, I really liked When Cowboys Are Kings. I really like the Roger Miller cover, Husbands and Wives, that he throws on at the end. And I also liked his song at the end, His Name is Jesus. And I think Cody definitely seems to have a perspective. In these moments where he's writing, he seems to be a kind of good-natured family man, but maybe he doesn't like writing about kind of the other sides of himself. Again, it kind of makes the record feel a little inconsistent sometimes to me. But all that said, I really like a lot of the songs on this record. I'm really excited by the sound of it. I love the presence of fiddle. I like how the drums sound, for the most part. I don't love them on Understand Why. I think the production, though, sounds pretty, like, thick. Sturdy is the word that just keeps coming up with this record for me. And so I like it a lot. And so I'd give this album a pretty solid 7 out of 10. You know, I don't think it's a perfect album, but I think there's a lot of good songs. And I'm encouraged that Cody is entering the mainstream, because I feel like he's empowered enough by Kojo Nation, by the whole Texas scene, by his success, that he's not going to get like whipped around by the Nashville machine. He knows he's in the driver's seat of his career. He knows his sound. He knows people like it. And I like that he's kind of a new power player with a slightly more traditional sound coming into this space, because I think we need that. And so I'm rooting for Cody. I like what he represents. Him and Aaron Watson kind of infiltrating. Man, that's cool. I like this bridge forming between Nashville and Texas. I think there is room for everybody, and both sides have things to learn from each other. I think sometimes Texas songs could use a little more of this Nashville songwriting kind of jaded punch. And I think sometimes Nashville could use a little bit of that honky-tonkin', fun, live band musicality that's out in Texas. So somehow Cody Johnson is like right at the epicenter of that, and I think it's going to be a big conversation this year, and I look forward to having it with you guys. So let me know what you think of this record. Let me know if there was one other Cody Johnson album you think I should check out. Let me know why, and yeah, I'm sure you guys will have thoughts. So let me know down in the comments below. A ton of fun stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks on this channel, and I will see you guys pretty soon.